author and nutritionist Robert Ferguson. Please welcome Robert Ferguson.
All right, y'all, let's hear it for America's Fat Loss Coach, Robert Ferguson!
Whoa, what was that, you guys? This is Robert Ferguson. Man, we had a little bit of a technical difficulty, but we are here. We are here. And I am not going to let me see. We got to turn a couple things down. So stay with me. Stay with me. Life is good. Let's see here. Let's see here. Let's get back in. We're plugging back in. We are plugging back in. Plug, plug, plug. Okay, settings, audio. Okay, we are good. And let's come back in. Okay. All right. Can you hear me okay? Test, test, 1, 2. All right. We got a little bit of feedback. I'm going to see this through. So stay with me. Stay with me. Because I'm about to share some nuggets, if you know what I'm talking about. Okay. All right. Okay. So can you hear me? Can you hear me? Do me a favor. If you can hear me right now, I think we got everything figured out. I'm going to dive into this, baby. This is Robert Ferguson. I am your nutritionist. I'm sharing because I'm caring. And we're about to dive into it. So we had a little bit of a technical difficulty. But let me tell you, this is what we're talking about, people. I'm going to share some information with you that a lot of people are just not aware of. Now, before I dive into it, I want to ask you a question. Have you ever heard of the word sarcopenia? If you know what sarcopenia is or what it means, please share. Have you heard of sarcopenia? Do you know what that word means? Sarcopenia. Sarcopenia. If you didn't know or you don't know, it means vanishing flesh in Greek. It means the loss of muscle, skeletal muscle. And when you lose skeletal muscle, it puts you into a position where life is not happy. It happens to a lot of people as we get older. So from the time we're 40 years of age, you guys, we start to lose muscle. And between the ages of 50 to 80, the data is clear that when you lose muscle, you have an increased risk of heart attack. I'm going to share with you. I'll show you that study right now. Here's a study. You can look it up. In this study, they took a little over 1,000 people between the ages of 50 and 80. The median age was 58 years of age. And what they demonstrate in this study, they do something that not many studies have done. And that is, instead of looking at fat and associating that with higher levels of heart disease or heart attack, stroke, etc., they looked at lean body mass, fat-free mass. And when a person drops fat-free mass, it was very clear with this 2-year study that you have a 300% increased risk of heart attack. They did another study, because this is only 1,000, over 3 million people in Korea with the same outcomes. What we've learned here is that having lean muscle mass, okay, muscle tissue, as we mature is really the fountain of youth. So now I'm going to share with you why this is extremely, extremely important. Okay. These drugs that are really popular, aside from the fact that they're causing a whole bunch of other side effects, these drugs, I'm talking about drugs like Ozempic, Mounjaro, Victoza, WeGovy, Trulicity, and it goes on and on and on. There's two people I'm going to share information that I got from. One is a physician up north in California, very respected, been published quite a bit. He has patients that want to go on these drugs. So when they came in, he did a DEXA scan on them before they actually started taking the drug. Now, DEXA scan is the gold standard for identifying and seeing clearly how much of your body is fat, bones, muscle, organs. They can see everything, right? And you can't get these all the time because we're talking radiation, but a DEXA scan. So it's very clear. Then they started taking the drug. 8 months later, he's got enough data in because they do another DEXA scan. And this is what he's discovered and will soon come out. 75% of the weight these people lost was muscle, bone, and water. They didn't lose much fat. Muscle, bone, and water. So you have an average woman, let's say she's in her early 50s, late 40s, early 60s, and she's losing weight with this drug. We know that it's moving her one step toward that increased risk of heart attack in a big way. That's just one. Then I got a surprise call this morning from someone who has been in the industry forever as far as fitness and health and is a guru at taking measurements. And she's created this app, and we were doing some work with her like when the pandemic was starting. But she called me and we did a little update, and she was sharing with me how she's working with a company that is prescribing these drugs, Ozempic, WeGovy, etc. And she's keeping track of their measurements. And the reason she's doing that is because many of them were losing hair and having all of these challenges with their health. And some people didn't at all. But she noticed that as they were losing weight on the scale, based on all her 30 years experience, the weight loss on the scale wasn't matching what she expected with the tape measurement. That's because they're losing muscle, bone, and water primarily. One's on the West Coast, one's on the East Coast. They're both getting the exact same outcomes, you guys. When you lose muscle, you increase the risk of hip fracture. If you go to the hospital with hip fracture, if you guys been around at all, you know that that's not good. When you lose muscle, you lose your youth. The association between losing muscle and increased risk for heart attack, stroke, is it worth it? Now, we're proposing to potentially do some work with some of these hospitals as well as these insurance companies that are prescribing it because they're in panic mode. Not only is there a high demand for the drug, because people are getting on it, they see that there's going to be a whole bunch of side effects that are going to have to be managed. Some people are putting themselves in a position to potentially hinder their metabolic health for the rest of their life. Now, a lot of people won't tell you that they're taking the drug. Some people are bragging about it. But if you know anyone who values their health, anyone, I want you to please reach out to them, because I'm going to do a part 2 on this where I'll go into more detail. And I'm going to show more stats. I'm going to give you pictures and let you see what sarcopenia looks like when you lose skeletal muscle. It's mind-blowing. And some people will listen to this and they're taking the drug and they will keep taking it thinking that they're going to take it for a while. And eventually they're going to stop taking it because they got things under control. They want to use the drug maybe to help them get a fresh start, a kick start. Let me get off of like 20 pounds. And then, then I'm going to like transition off. Well, I'm taking clients who want to transition off because if you don't transition off correctly, disaster. Also, there's things that you can do if you're taking the drug. Like I have some clients. I have clients that are taking some of these drugs. And I'm coaching them to make sure that they do the things that are necessary so they don't lose 75% of their weight being lean muscle tissue skeletal muscle, bone, and water. This is serious, man. This is serious. It's like really serious. And I haven't been doing much TV lately, but I'm getting ready to start. So these are some of the things that I'll definitely be wanting to talk about. People need to know this. They really do. Okay. Anyway, I'm Robert Ferguson. Thank you. Sorry for the technical difficulties before coming on. If you're using food, eating food, living a healthy life, and doing all the things that you can to thrive with your life at whatever age that is, hey, I compliment you. Give yourself a big pat on the back. Job well done. Anyway, this is Robert Ferguson. I share because I care. Until the next one. Peace.